1970s, a mother asked permission from Disney to drop her deceased son's ashes in the Haunted Mansion ride. Disney declined due to health concerns, but the mother continued to do so anyways. This in turn caused the boy's ghost to haunt the mansion. Sometimes he is heard giggling, others say he is crying near the exit. He is even occasionally photographed.
Mr. One-Way. Mr. One-Way is the name given to a mysterious spirit that inhabits the queue at Space Mountain. It's rumored that he used to be a guest who tragically died on the Space Mountain ride back in the 1970s. Some say he's a friendly ghost, describing him as a large man with reddish hair and a red face. Guests have reported seeing Mr. One-Way getting into seats with people, but vanishing before the ride ends.
The Haunted Mansion. There's an urban legend running around that an early version of the Haunted Mansion ride was so scary that it frightened a man to death. This man was invited to preview the attraction, which caused him to suffer a heart attack and died. Because of this, Disney ordered the mansion to be toned down into what it is now. There's also reports of a 16-year-old girl with a pre-existing medical condition who unfortunately met the same fate in 2014.
No one can die at Disneyland. According to this legend, Disney prevents anyone from being declared dead while on their property, allowing Disney to claim that no one has ever died at the park. What this means is that the Disney staff will literally remove victims of in-park accidents and mishaps from the area to prevent anybody from dying on the property. This legend is somewhat controversial due to the fact that most injured victims are officially declared dead by a doctor at a hospital, despite where the fatal accident took place.
The Dead Bellhop. The Tower of Terror contains 4 platforms: Alpha, Beta, Charlie, and Delta. The legend goes that a bellhop was working on the 4th platform, suffered a heart attack, and died. It's said that his ghost still haunts the ride to this day. This legend is even accompanied by footage of a supposed ghost captured on a maintenance camera. Those who have worked at Disney's Tower of Terror have reported their strange experiences in the area, such as the attraction shutting down or freezing or flickering lights.
Disney's The Story of Menstruation. For a while, there was a myth about Disney apparently making a short animation about the menstruation cycle. This is because Disney actually made a lot of educational videos in its earlier years. It was unknown if this animation ever existed, and if it did, whether it would surface online or not.
Real skeletons and Pirates of the Caribbean. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride spawned a multi-billion-dollar film franchise, merchandise, toys, and video games. It became one of Disney's most profitable franchises, surprisingly being right after Walt Disney's death. Legend has it that while the ride was still under construction, the Imagineers were displeased with the false skeletons placed around the ride. They didn't look authentic enough, so they decided to use real skeletons provided by the UCLA Medical School. There's also a legend about the ghosts of 2 little boys who haunt the Pirates of the Caribbean ride and the Haunted Mansion, one crying and one laughing.
Disney's No Women Policy. The legend is that Disney used to have a policy stating that women could not be hired at the animation studio outside of the ink and paint department. This rumor gained widespread attention because of a letter sent to animator Mary Ford. The letter stated that women do not do any of the creative work in connection with preparing the cartoon. The only work open to women consists of tracing the characters on clear
relations. Walt Disney was accused of being anti-Semitic and a racist during his lifetime. This was due to his seemingly racist portrayals of Jews and blacks in his cartoons. Most of the racially insensitive material came from the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, such as in Mickey's Melodrammer, in which Mickey Mouse dresses as blackface. Disney biographer Neil Gallagher wrote, "Walt Disney is no racist. He never, either publicly or privately, made disparaging remarks about blacks or asserted white superiority."
It's a Small World. In 1999, the It's a Small World ride in Disneyland had to be evacuated for an undisclosed reason. Just before leaving the park, a mother snapped a couple of pictures to fill up the space in her camera. When the pictures were developed, one showed the blurry image of a limp child hanging from the ceiling. There's also been several rumors about the dolls subtly moving on their own, switching places with each other, or disappearing altogether.
Mousewitz. According to this legend, dissatisfied Disney workers have dubbed Disneyland as Mousewitz because of how unhappy they were with the working conditions. It's also rumored that cast members at Disneyland Paris started referring to it as the unhappiest place on earth due to the suicide of 3 workers at the time. Disney employees who used this term were scolded at and sometimes even fired due to it not fitting Disney's ideal family-friendly image.
Debbie Stone. Debbie Stone was a cast member at Disneyland in 1974. At the time, the ride Carousel of Progress was being updated to become a new ride called America Sings. The ride featured a round central stage that showed several theaters for the audience, divided by walls which rotate around the stationary center. 18-year-old Debbie was a hostess on the ride. Standing in the corner of the first scene theater, she got too close to where the wall of the theater rotates around the center, and she was crushed between the stage and auditorium. A guest in an adjacent theater heard her scream and alerted the cast member, but by then, it was too late for Debbie. There have been urban legends, and Disney cast members claim that they have seen her spirit and can hear a voice warning, "Be careful," at the unfortunate sight.
Abandoned by Disney. This term is used for the abandoned island that used to be Disney's Treasure Island, an animal observation park for visitors. The island was bought by Walt Disney, who turned it into a place for tourists to observe wildlife, including flamingos, swans, lemurs, and more. However, the attraction closed in 1999 due to unknown reasons. Today, the island remains off limits. The last visitor was a photographer named Shane Perez, who swam to the island to take a few pictures. The legend states that the island is haunted by the costumes of Disney mascots, coming to life and attacking those who visit the island.
The Lost Mickey Mouse and Hell cartoon, otherwise known as SuicideMouse.avi. This disturbing clip shows a forlorn Mickey walking in what seems to be a looping city background. However, according to legend, Mickey is actually walking in hell. Several versions of this cartoon exist. However, they almost all share common features. Mickey will be seen walking, while the distorted sounds of random piano keys play in the background. The screen will go black for a few minutes before continuing. This time, the background will be warped and blurred, and a blood-curdling scream can be heard in the background. A Disney employee who witnessed the video feverishly stumbled outside of the room, muttering, before killing himself.
The Mickey and Minnie sex tape. In 1936, Walt Disney's brother Roy Disney prepared a surprise birthday party for his brother's 35th birthday. Roy encouraged two animators, whose names have not yet been made public, to create a short animation titled Mickey and Minnie Sex Tape to surprise Walt Disney on the day of the party. While Walt first responded with laughter, he immediately fired the two animators and ordered the destruction of all known copies of the shorts. It is unknown if any copies still exist to this day. It is also highly unlikely that the short, if it exists, will ever see the light of day, given its controversial history and the fact that the two animators are more than likely dead at this point.
Walt Disney Freemasons. There's a long existing legend that Walt Disney was a 33rd degree Freemason. The number 33 also has a lot to do with Disney himself, being a member of the private Club 33 at 33 Royal Street. In Illuminati terminology, the number 11 has special significance. It is a power number, as is 22 and 33. The number 11 represents vision. 22 combines vision with action. Finally, 33 offers guidance to the world. The master numbers 11, 22, and 33 represent the triangle of enlightenment or illumination. It's also worth noting that the royal family is said to be one of the most powerful Illuminati bloodlines.
Walt Disney's death film. It's rumored that Walt Disney prepared a film for his executives to watch after his death. The film is said to give them all instructions on how to run his company now without him. Walt was featured in the film speaking to each of them by name and telling them all what he expected them to do for the next 5 years.
Illuminati Subliminal. There have been many claims against Disney using sexual subliminal messaging in their movies and TV shows. In the original version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Jessica Rabbit's private parts are briefly exposed when she's thrown out of Benny the Cat. The DVD box art of The Little Mermaid is also said to contain a secret subliminal message of what looks like a penis. Most controversial is the picture of a topless woman, which can be seen in The Rescuers. But why would Disney use subliminal messages in their products anyway? Advertisers have harnessed the power of subliminal messaging to persuade viewers into buying their products. Was Walt Disney a pioneer in mind control using his animated films? And were these sexual subliminals the reason behind Disney's successful Princess toy line?
Walt Disney's Frozen. In what has to be one of the biggest urban legends surrounding the Walt Disney Company, the man himself was rumored to have been cryogenically frozen after he died. His body is also said to be stored beneath the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. The legend originated during the time when science fiction stories about freezing people were popular. The first known human freezing was in January 1967, more than a month after Walt Disney's death. His daughter Diane wrote in 1972, "There is absolutely no truth to the rumor that my father, Walt Disney, wished to be frozen. I doubt that my father had ever heard of cryonics."